Alrighty. Greetings. Should go about, 1,000 frames in before we get there. What's happening, everybody? How we doing? What's up, Amphid, Olfie, Not Syndicate, Dramaticus, good to see you, Raja, Hex, Mr. Voodoo, Contact, Talamas. What's up, Spring? How you doing, sir? Long time no see. It's going to be one of the quicker cooking with frags I do. It's a very simple preparation, which I do not remember the French name for. I'm sure Mr. Jager will go ahead and type that in the chat. Mininiere or something like that. God forbid, I don't know the spelling, that's for damn sure. Basically, it is a pan-seared white fish. Should be nice and delectable. Flour-coated, deglazed with white wine, capers, butter sauce, lemon juice. As simple as it gets. I would say a lot of people have very bad experience with fish. I'm talking to you, Dude Junior. There are thousands of kind of fish out there, prepared hundreds, if not thousands, of different kinds of ways. Saying you don't like something that broad. Well, maybe not. If it's impossible for you to eat, then it's just a reflex thing. There's some things I can't eat, like oatmeal, cottage cheese. Cottage cheese I refuse to eat. Okay, so it's very simple. We have this nice sole. Sole is a very thin white fish, which is what you want for this preparation. Just going to dredge it in flour. The flour is seasoned flour. We put, for every 1 cup of, ooh, that's a bone. For every 1 cup of flour, 1 tablespoon of salt and pepper mix. We used 1/3 cup here, which is probably way more than I need. So 1 teaspoon of salt and pepper mix. Get a nice coating on the outside and then shake it off. The more flour you get on the outside, you want to get in all those little crevices. You're going to get a better crust on the fish. You get a better crust, you're going to have a better time. Bones make it have better texture. Honestly, sole bones you can actually eat because they're so thin and delicate. Okay. So all you do for this preparation is you melt down clarified butter. You sear the flour-coated fish until it is golden brown. You pull it out, you deglaze with white wine, add capers, lemon juice. You squeeze a little lemon over the top as well. I also added some lemon zest to the flour just to get a little more flavor in there. Not too much though. It actually won't stick to the fish, but it does actually flavor the flour very slightly, especially if it sits for a few minutes. We sat for about 25 before I started. Alright. Nice. Alright, if you don't know what clarified butter is, it's very easy to make at home. You can also buy it pre-made, which is kind of silly. All clarified butter is butter that's been melted down. You remove the milk fat from the butter. So it ends up being clearer, and when you cook something in butter, what ends up browning and turning nasty is the milk fat. So you remove the milk fat, and therefore the butter has a much higher burning temperature. You can very much burn clarified butter. Thank you, Dead Cell. Welcome to Dapper, sir. You can burn clarified butter, but you're going to have a lot harder time doing it than you would with other preparations. So we're going to add a healthy amount of butter here. And by healthy, I mean unhealthy. So we want it to soak up all that butter into the flour and get a nice crust on it. But then again, you don't want too much butter, because if you add too much butter, there's leftover in the pan, and that'll make your sauce break. Alright, that's looking pretty good. We'll heat that up in just a second. Let's see if I can cut this butter. It's frozen right now. Should be fun. Oh, yes. That'll do. Cut the butter into cubes, and we're going to add the cubes one by one. Last time I made a butter sauce on stream, I broke the sauce. Shame on me. That's the way it goes. Okay, we've got a nice unhealthy amount of butter in there. Though it is clarified butter, so it is much healthier for you than regular butter, because you removed all that milk fat. Still very fatty, but not near as bad for you. It doesn't taste as rich as regular butter, because once again you've removed a good portion of the fat from it. I'm going to add a little bit more, actually. Should probably also grab a spatula to flip the fish, otherwise I'll have a bad time. It definitely does taste different. It's not, it's just not as rich as... Sure, we'll use this spatula. Why not? I'd really like to get... I used to have a really nice elbow spat for flipping stuff, and I don't have it anymore. I don't know where it went. Okay, so anytime you sear anything in a pan, anything, you need to have your, whatever your cooking medium is, oil, butter, very hot. Otherwise, you're not going to get a crust. Good evening, Char. Nuttier, that's a good way to put it. But I hope everyone's having a great day. This should be a nice, quick cooking with Frag. The next one will be a bit longer because we're doing rack of lamb with rosemary mint glaze. I absolutely love lamb. It's not something I eat very often. But for special occasions. So once again, seasoned flour. For every 1 cup of flour, 1 tablespoon of salt pepper mix, 4 to 1 salt pepper. There are 3 teaspoons and a tablespoon. And figure it out from there. Just a nice pan-seared fish jar. I did miss the trash can. Thanks! Alright, we're getting nice and hot there. Clarified butter, you can look for little bubbles. That's kind of what I'm looking for. You can also, if you're not sure, just take whatever you're going to cook and just dip the little tail in there. It sizzles real good. Got another second. You know it's ready. What's up, Nosh? Oh, we're cooking sole. Wow, those pants are nice. Thanks, Prixie. Nice sole. It's one of the thinner, more delicate fish. It'd probably be my fish of choice for this preparation. Anything thin and white works, though. Yeah, you got that right, Juicy. You got that right. Alright, our butter should be... If it's not there, it's damn close. Let's add the small piece and see what happens. I'm going to be patient. Be patient. If your oil isn't hot enough, you're just going to have a bad time. So, well, butter in this case. Turn the heat up just a little bit and wait about 15 seconds, and then it's going in the pan. Also, keep in mind, if you're adding something cold to your pan, it's going to lower the temperature of whatever's in there. So sometimes a little bit hotter is better. Tilapia, yes, is great pan-seared. Absolutely. Yeah, Dover's, this isn't actually Dover, it's whatever the other variation of sole is. I'm trying to remember the name of it now, but I forgot. I went to go buy Dover sole and they didn't have Dover. That's okay though. Alright, here we go. Now we're hot enough. Lay it down nice and gentle. Ooh, tell me it's going to fit. Okay, since we have so much in the pan, it might we'll see what happens. Might have a little bit of too much butter, but that's okay. I can dump some of the butter off after it's done cooking, before making the pan sauce and deglazing. Well, that's not ideal, because you're losing some flavor there. Deep fried catfish, amazing. Yeah, a little bit too much butter, but that's okay. In fact, using the words too much and butter in the same sentence is kind of silly. It's hard to have too much butter. Yeah, if you throw it in the pan, it's going to splash back up at you. It's one of the worst burns I've ever seen, was somebody tossing something into a pan that had 500-degree oil into it, and it splashed back in their eye. Nice, Nosh. It's good stuff. Okay, that's going to cook very quickly. In fact, this fish will technically be what you consider overcooked, but since we're getting such a nice crust and sear on it, the inside of the fish is not, you're not cooking it like you would a normal fish because it's so thin. We're trying to get a nice, awesome crust on the side of it. Petrale sole, there we go. That's the one. Yeah, hot oil from trying to sear a duck breast right in the eye. See, we're getting a little bit of browning around the edges of the fish. That's good. Now, when you crust something this heavily, you're going to retain a lot of moisture, not only from the fish, but from the fat you're cooking it in, which is why it works. Most fish, when you overcook it, will turn into... Oh god, so good. Why? So good. Will turn into just disgusting, like, cat food texture, which is just horrible. Absolutely horrible. So for this preparation, what we're going to do is we try to get a really good golden brown on one side, and then flip it over and just finish it real quick. Just a light crust on the bottom. The crust on the one side is the most important piece. Unless you're a cat, and that's really good. True. I've actually never eaten cat food, but that's kind of what, like, okay, like dry tuna, like without anything added to it, would be a good representation of overcooked fish. With fish, 5 seconds of a lifetime. That's absolutely right. You really, on most fish, have about a, I want to say, if you're lucky, about a 15 to 30 second window from perfectly cooked to overcooked. Okay, now we're starting to get some really nice browning on there. Let's see. Oh, not quite. Almost. Almost. I'll bet this piece is going to be more brown than the rest because the way the pan was resting. This is probably one preparation where you want to stand over your pan. You don't want to walk away from this and forget it. Unless you've done it a bunch of times. Yep, medium rare on fish is usually what I go for. Between medium rare, some stuff like tuna, more on the rare side. But, like salmon is like an absolute must be cooked to medium rare, otherwise it's absolute shit. Pardon my language. I'm very passionate about my salmon. Okay, now we got a nice golden brown on this side. Oh yes, beautiful. This one's a little bit under-seared, but that's okay. What I'm going to do here is I'm going to take a paper towel. I'm going to dab off some of the fat from the top of the fish, so keep the crust intact a little bit longer, because it does have to sit off to the side. Don't have to do this. It's just a lot of fat, and then we're going to be adding butter sauce on top of it, so that should keep the integrity of the crust a little bit better. Yeah, medium-high is definitely where we're at. Right at medium-high. Yeah, gas stove. The trick with a gas stove, if you're used to electric, is learning the heat temperatures. The great part about gas stoves is they keep a very consistent temperature. So you just let the pan sit for a little bit longer and figure out what the temperature of it is. So you figure out what medium-high is, and it will always be the same. That's why most cooks prefer gas stoves, because they're more consistent in their heat. Though you do need to wait a second, whereas electrical heat up much faster, but it's more unstable. Okay. So we should have a decent sear on the bottom now. It's obviously cooked. We know it's cooked. So we're going to put this off to the side. In fact, let's put this on a paper towel, since we're just going to be buttering the hell out of it anyways. Okay. Oh, yeah. It's nice. Nice and crusty and crispy. Awesome. Okay. Now we have this brown stuff in the pan. I don't want to lose the brown stuff, but I do want to lose a little bit of this butter. So we're going to take off about 3/4 of it. Try to keep the brown stuff in the pan because the brown stuff is the flavor. We're going to add capers. Still juice in there. Handful of capers. Turn my pan down a little bit. The white wine will help cool it down. White wine. Pan's very hot. Yeah, you would smell natural gas leak because they add chemicals to it to make sure that you are not inhaling gas without knowing it. Though natural gas in itself is scentless, they add a very potent smell to it when it goes through the pipes to stop people from dying. Okay, and lemon juice here too. And then we'll squeeze just a little bit of fresh lemon juice on it at the end, but we're going to let that cook down until it's al sec or dry. We want it to be completely dry, and then we will start adding in the butter. Yeah, it's kind of a rotten egg smell. It's very noticeable. You'll know if you're inhaling natural gas that's been through a natural gas pipeline. Without a doubt. Okay, I'll let this sit here. So the bruises let all that stuff reduce down, infuses into the capers, gets all the stuff off of the pan, gets down to its core element, and then you're adding butter as more moisture in, stirring it around, and then it will be this lovely butter sauce. Now, if you're not working in a restaurant, if you break your butter sauce, not the end of the world. But you don't want to break your butter sauce, so we'll talk about ways not to break your butter sauce, if possible. Now, that being said, I broke my last one. Okay, so this is nice and dry now. I don't know if you can see this in the camera. There's all that brown stuff kind of floating in the pan. That's exactly what we're going to get off with the butter. So we're going to take this pan off of the heat. Going to turn off the heat. We're going to let this cool down for a second before we do anything. If we add butter to this pan right now, it is so hot, it's going to instantly separate the butter. So letting the pan cool down to a temperature where the butter barely melts is how you get a whole butter sauce without it breaking. Oh, that fish is just so crusty and good. Okay, wipe that off. Let's go and use this one. One thing you can do when you're checking if your pan's too hot, you have stuff in the pan, I can still hear it sizzling, which probably means it's too hot. As soon as the sizzle is not super noticeable, it's probably time to add our butter. So we're going to add this off the heat completely. See what happens. So if I touch it in here, yeah, that's good. And you want to add a little bit at a time and just stir it around. The slower you add the butter, the less likely it is to break. Just like with emulsions. So I'll probably be doing a whole section on emulsions the next Cooking with Frag. It does not taste any different when it's broke. It just looks different. It doesn't look very appetizing. It looks like melted butter. Whereas a whole butter sauce has this rich, creamy look to it, like regular butter. I mean, overall, the flavor of what a broken butter sauce is not going to be. It's not going to be nasty. You're not going to be like, oh my god, this is gross. It's just not going to be the tastiest, or it's not going to look the tastiest. Oh my god, I think we're going to make a sauce without breaking it. I'm so happy. So you add one cube at a time and just keep flipping it around. It's a little bit broken. Yeah, it's still butter. It's still delicious. It's not bad. You can see how it looks pretty rich when I'm swirling it around. And then if you get a little bit closer, it's kind of separated. Part of that is the liquid in there, but you want that rich, the light's getting right in there, that richness, that rich look to it. It's not a bad butter sauce at all. Pan was a little bit hot. Okay. Then one more cube and we'll have our nice butter sauce done. I don't even know what whale butter is. No, I have not. I don't think I'd cook fish in duck fat as much as I love duck fat. I love duck fat so much. It's a pretty good butter sauce. Slightly separated but not fully broken. Yep, white wine, capers, butter, lemon juice, and we're going to finish off with a squeeze of fresh lemon as well. Duck fat's not all that expensive. Okay. Make sure I don't scrape my pan with the spoon, or at least very lightly if I do. Capers are a lovely little ingredient. They're sour and very salty. So good. Alright, and then we'll finish that with just a slight squeeze of some fresh lemon, and that's it. That's all you do. Just a couple drops on each piece, and of course you can add more lemon later if you want to. But that's it. It's a nice pan-seared whitefish. I'm going to nom the crap out of this. It's one of my favorite, very simple things to cook. I used to cook this all the time when I was in kitchens. Anytime we had leftover fish, that's pretty much what I was going for. 2-minute, it was 22-minute cooking with Frag. I do not, zom zom zom. Thank you, everybody, for watching. I'm going to go downstairs and load up Spelunky. We're going to be doing Mothership and Hell runs tonight. I'm going to come back upstairs. I'm going to eat my food before it gets cold. Thank you, Frosty, and whoever else just said, what's up, Gassy Mexican? How you doing, sir? Alright, so that's a nice, simple pan-seared whitefish. Nice 22-minute preparation. If you were doing that yourself and you had your ingredients laid out, you could literally cook that in about 10 minutes for yourself. Very simple preparation, very hard to mess up other than breaking the sauce, which will not affect the flavor. Okay, be back in just a second.